Following up on the outfits video I did a few weeks ago, we're going to reveal our picks in the Starfleet Uniforms category in this episode of...
Yeah, it's the best five, worst five, know what I mean? Yeah, it's the best five, worst five Trek's ever seen.
There are so many designs and variations over the 1,000 years of Starfleet canon. Some have been pretty great, and some have not quite met the mark. We'll only be talking about proper Starfleet uniforms, no mirror universe alternates or other races. Occupying the 5th worst spot, TNG uniforms. While the look is iconic, these uniforms are anything but practical. Shout out to Jay Warden for putting together a video I've linked in the description that highlights every Picard maneuver, and it totals 569 shirt tugs on the TNG-style uniforms. There's no pockets, and they're a staple in the franchise, but they never fit anyone well. Number 4. 2385 cheerleaders. While we only get a brief look at these in flashbacks and pictures during Season 1 of Picard, these uniforms just look like black with some extra cutout pieces layered on top in a hurry. Slap on a Voyager-style badge and you're ready to be the Federation's greatest cheerleaders, all the while getting your dreams crushed by that same entity. Number 3. The Season 4 flaps. Discovery, how did you go from this to this? It flatters Michael Burnham, Reese, and Saru from the waist up with Kaminar pin to help tie it together. But even the tall dude with the wavy arms doesn't look good in long shots. Particularly bad are the new science blues on Stamets, Adira, and Tilly. And then there's the flap, the unnecessary uneven design that only kind of works for Culber in white. The collar in the new pips are kind of cool, but it looks like that collar is tight and maybe a bit hard to breathe in. Number 2. 2375 formals. In Star Trek Insurrection, we're treated to the most hideous dress uniform in Starfleet history. For all the crap I gave Discovery, their formal grays aren't terrible. For everyone but Picard, the backing ties in the current blue-gray Dominion War uniforms. Picard, though, is clearly the man of honor with the all-white attire. If Bev has to help him squeeze into it, I don't think it's comfortable either. As ridiculous as it looks, the beads actually make this look better somehow. But these white all one-piece jackets with the blue strip zippered down the middle makes the officers look stuffy. And the worst Starfleet uniform series in all of Trek. The Neutral 70s. Taking place in the 2270s, though there's some debate as to actually what year, it mirrors the decade of the 20th century it was produced in. While I'm impressed that the costume department managed to wrangle up 300-some-odd Starfleet uniforms for the biggest cast ensemble in Trek history, that meant reusing a lot of what they had on hand for cheap, and that was the 70s shades of beige. Looks very similar to another famous sci-fi pep talk. Did they even try to make these uniforms look futuristic? From white to gray, these monstrosities are a time capsule to easily the worst Trek movie to date. Turning to the better of the bunch at 5th best, TNG's unisex miniskirts. Despite also having the despised asymmetrical flap, these only glimpsed at unisex miniskirts across TNG's first season are a testament to the inclusivity of Star Trek. On a level of practicality, well, they're not. On a level of cool factor, pretty awesome. Number 4. Enterprise flight suits. As far as utilitarian design, this is probably the most practical uniform we've ever seen portrayed in the franchise. Multiple zippered pockets, a unisex design that generally flatters people, and more importantly, it's a segue from modern-day flight suits to the next chronological design and discovery. Speaking of which, at number 3, we have Space Navy Blue. It takes the blue from Enterprise and blends it with something that comes closer to resembling Federation designs we know, all the while doing its own thing, making the Klingon War feel like it's being fought by a space navy. The horizontal stripe patterns just work for everyone seen wearing them. Most of all, the multiple captains of Discovery. Taking the 2nd best spot, Cali-class designs. While we see that other more senior vessels are still rocking the blue-gray Dominion War look, the crew of the Cerritos and other California-class vessels we've seen wear a mix of classic TNG, the cheerleader uniform seen a few years later, and the opening flap of the Monster Maroons. For a show that's parodying 55 years of Trek, they sure thought about how they could convey many designs as one, and the animators pulled this off brilliantly. An honorable mention, Lost Era Maroons. While I do generally enjoy this ultra-formal standard uniform with a flap you can open for seemingly no good reason, it didn't quite stack up to the other 5 entries in the top 5. It looks woolen, hot, and uncomfortable. A better formal uniform than something for fleet-wide deployment across decades. As far as we know, it's the longest-lasting design in Starfleet history, though. The best uniform series in the franchise. Simple but elegant. A design so perfectly Starfleet that it endured 12 seasons of Star Trek, 5 from DS9, and the staple of Voyager's entire run. Could still use some pockets, but there's a sense of comfort that comes with this outfit pattern that defined Star Trek for most of the 1990s. Gone was most of the shirt tugging that plagued the TNG-era uniforms. It worked well across genders and body types and easily deserves to be at the top of this list. What's your favorite Starfleet uniform across Trek?